Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted something so badly, but you found yourself pulling back, hesitating, making excuses, and then watching that dream slip right through your fingers? Maybe it was a business idea, a body transformation relationship you wanted to fix, or a financial breakthrough you thought would change your life. And yet you let it go. Not because you didn't have the ability, not because you didn't have the potential, because you weren't obsessed enough to make it happen. Listen to me closely. Success doesn't respond to interest. Success doesn't respond to trying. Success bows only to obsession. If you are not obsessed, life will distract you, people will talk you out of it, and fear will paralyze you. But when you're obsessed, nothing can stop you. Obsession is the fuel that turns impossible into inevitable. I want you to imagine something. What if the thing you've been dreaming of, the thing you've been postponing, the thing you've been telling yourself you'll do, someday, what if I told you it could be yours, not 10 years from now, not someday in the future, sooner than you think, if you finally learned how to unleash this one power inside of you? That power is obsession. And here's why you need to listen to every word of this message, because the difference between those who succeed massively and those who live a lifetime of regret is not talent, it's not luck, it's not even opportunity, it's obsession. I'm going to break down exactly how you can become obsessed with success in a way that ignites you, sustains you, and pushes you beyond every limit you thought you had. By the end of this, you will no longer just want success. You'll embody it. So if you're tired of settling, if you're done living average, if you're ready to take everything in your life to a level you didn't even think was possible, then lean in, stay with me, let's go all in together. You know what the first step of being obsessed with success really is? It's not hard work. It's not even discipline. It's clarity. You can't obsess over something that's vague, undefined, just a blurry picture in your mind. Most people walk through life chasing an illusion of success without ever taking the time to ask themselves, what does success actually mean to me? Not my parents, not society, not my friends, not the highlight reels on social media. Me, what does success mean to me? That's where obsession is born. Because if you don't define it, you can't obsess over it. You'll spend your life running after someone else's version of success. And here's the truth. You can win that race and still feel empty. You can get the money, the car, the job title, the house, and still lay awake at night wondering why you're not fulfilled. Success without clarity feels like climbing a ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. And when you hit that point, the emptiness eats you alive. Clarity is power. The moment you decide with absolute certainty, this is what success looks like for me, everything shifts. Your brain stops scattering its energy in 1,000 directions. Your focus sharpens. Your energy multiplies. Obsession can't exist in confusion. Obsession only lives where there's absolute precision. Think about it like this. If I hand you a magnifying glass and you just wave it around in the sun, nothing happens. But if you hold it steady, focused, locked on one single point, you can set the world on fire. That's what clarity does. That's what defining success does. It gives you the power to channel your energy so intensely that it ignites into obsession. But here's the catch. Most people don't want to define success because it forces them to confront something uncomfortable, the possibility of failure. If I don't define it, I can't fail at it. If I don't define it, I can just keep drifting, keep waiting, keep telling myself the story that someday I'll figure it out. That's the easy way out. That's how people waste their entire lives. You need to get brutally honest with yourself. What do you want? Not in some vague, polite way. I want to be happy, or I want to be successful. Too many people hide behind words like that. Happiness is not a goal. It's a state you create when you're living aligned with what matters to you. Success is not a cliche. It's something specific. Do you want to build a business? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to become financially free? Do you want to have the fittest body you've ever had? Do you want to be the parent that breaks the generational cycle for your kids? Define it, make it specific. Make it so vivid in your mind that you can feel it, see it, smell it, touch it. Because the more real it becomes in your mind, more your emotions get hooked. And once your emotions are hooked, obsession takes over. You'll wake up with it. You'll think about it when you're in the shower. It'll be in your conversations. It'll live in your bones. That's the starting point of real transformation. And let me tell you something else. You can't fake clarity. You can't just write a couple of nice goals in a journal and call it done. You've got to dig deep. Ask yourself the hard questions. What would my life look like if I was truly successful? How would I feel waking up every morning? Whose impact would I be making? How much money would I have? How healthy would I be? Paint the picture in excruciating detail. More detail, the more fuel for your obsession. You see, clarity gives you leverage. When you know exactly what you want, your excuses start losing their power. That voice in your head that says, I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow, not ready. Suddenly it gets weaker. Why? Because you have something so specific, so emotionally charged, that excuses can't compete with it. The clearer the vision, the stronger the obsession. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Clarity doesn't come from sitting around waiting for the perfect answer. Clarity comes from movement. You've got to start. You've got to make a decision, even if it's not perfect. Because once you move, once you act, once you step into the arena, you begin to refine your vision. You begin to discover what truly matters and what doesn't. Sitting on the sidelines never gives you clarity. Action does. When you lock in on that clarity, obsession becomes natural. It stops being something you have to force. Think about someone who falls in love. Do they have to remind themselves to think about the person they love? No, they're obsessed. They daydream. They plan, they think about the future, they feel the pull constantly. That's what success becomes when you define it clearly enough. It becomes your love affair, and once you fall in love with your vision, good luck trying to stop you. The reason most people never reach that level is because they let the world define success for them. They let their parents say, you should be a doctor. They let society say, success means money. They let Instagram say, success looks like yachts and private jets. And deep down, they're not driven by any of it. That's why they quit. That's why they don't have the obsession, because obsession doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. You've got to own your definition. So I'll challenge you right now, take everything you've been told about success, throw it on the table, and ask yourself, does this actually light me up? Am I chasing this because I think I'm supposed to? If it doesn't light you up, if it doesn't ignite something deep inside you, it's not your definition. Find the one that does, because when you do, life will never look the same. You won't need motivation. You'll be pulled. You won't need someone to remind you. You'll remind yourself. You won't stop at failure. You'll use it as fuel. That's the power of being crystal clear about what success means to you. That's where obsession begins. So decide, don't leave this room without making that decision. Decide what success really is for you and watch how everything else starts to shift. Once you define what success means to you, the next step is turning that desire into something much deeper, hunger. Because let's be honest, everybody wants success. Everybody wants a good life, the freedom, the recognition, the lifestyle. Desire is everywhere, but desire alone is weak. I wish. Desire says, it would be nice if. Desire keeps people stuck in daydreaming is different. Hunger doesn't say, I wish. Hunger says, I must. Hunger is the difference between wanting success and needing it so badly that you'll do whatever it takes to have it. And here's the truth. You will never get obsessed with success until you transform your desire into hunger. If success is just something you'd like to have, life will knock you around, distractions will seduce you, and setbacks will make you quit. But when you're hungry, quitting isn't an option. Failure isn't the end, it's just a stepping stone. Hunger turns obstacles into fuel. Think about this, when a person is truly hungry, physically hungry, they'll do anything to eat. Pride goes out the window, fear goes out the window, comfort goes out the window. They'll walk miles, fight through pain. They'll do things they never thought they could do because hunger demands it. That same intensity is what it takes to be obsessed with success. You've got to want it like your next breath. That's the kind of hunger that pulls greatness out of you. But most people don't live with that level of hunger because they're comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of obsession. If you've got just enough to get by, just enough to be okay, you won't unleash the hunger that drives you to extraordinary success. The moment you settle for comfort, you kill your hunger. And when hunger dies, obsession fades. That's why people with the most potential often achieve the least. Because potential without hunger is just wasted energy. So how do you build hunger? You've got to stop negotiating with yourself. You've got to take away the backup plan. You've got to raise your standards so high that good enough becomes unacceptable. Because hunger comes from raising the bar on yourself and refusing to settle for anything less. If you accept mediocrity, you'll never taste obsession. If you keep telling yourself, at least I tried, you'll never know what it feels like to win at the highest level. Hunger starts the moment you tell yourself, this isn't optional, this isn't negotiable. This is who I am. I will not stop until it's done. And let me tell you something powerful. You don't find hunger in comfort. You find it in struggle. Hunger is born when you remember the nights you felt broken, the times you had nothing, the times you were overlooked, rejected, doubted. Those moments are not curses. They're fuel. If you use them right, they'll light a fire inside you that never goes out. Think about the greatest achievers in history. They weren't just talented, hungry. Their hunger came from pain, from setbacks, from being told they couldn't. They turned that pain into fuel, and that fuel became obsession. Now, here's what's wild. Once hunger takes over, you stop needing external motivation. People always ask, how do I stay motivated? You don't. Motivation fades. Hunger doesn't. Motivation is a spark. Hunger is a wildfire. Motivation is for the moment. Hunger is forever. Motivation gets you started. Hunger keeps you moving when it hurts, when you're exhausted, when nobody's watching. Hunger will drag you out of bed at 5 a.m. Hunger will push you to make one more call, one more rep, one more move when everyone else has already quit. And the best part, makes life exciting. People think hunger means you're always suffering. No, hunger gives you energy. Hunger makes you alive. Hunger gives you a reason to wake up every morning with fire in your chest instead of dread. Hunger pulls you forward. Is obsession disguised as purpose? When you're hungry, you don't dread the work, you crave it. You're addicted to the process because you know what's waiting on the other side. But here's where most people mess up. They confuse interest with hunger. Interest says, I'll do it if it's convenient. Hunger says, I'll do it no matter what. Interest says, I'll try when I feel like it. Hunger says, Do it even when I don't feel like it. Interest fades when it gets hard. Hunger grows when it gets hard. That's why success only comes to the obsessed, because only the obsessed are truly hungry. So let me ask you, are you interested in success or are you hungry for it? Be honest with yourself, because the answer to that question will determine your future. If you're interested, you'll keep playing small, you'll keep making excuses, you'll keep living average. But if you're hungry, everything changes. Hungry people don't wait for opportunities, they create them. Hungry people don't pray for things to be easier, they pray for strength to get stronger. People don't care how long it takes, how hard it gets, or how many times they fall. They only care about winning. And when you get to that place, when you're truly hungry, obsession becomes automatic. You don't need to force it, you live it. It shows in your eyes, in your actions, in your energy. People around you can feel it. They see the fire, they see the hunger, and it either inspires them or intimidates them. But either way, they know you're different. So stop wishing, stop waiting, stop pretending desire is enough. Turn that desire to hunger, make success a must. Because when it becomes a must, when it becomes non-negotiable, when it becomes the very thing you breathe for, you become unstoppable once you've defined what success means to you. And once you've turned that desire into a hunger so deep it feels like oxygen, the next step is protecting and feeding the place where obsession is born, your mind. Because obsession doesn't just live in your body, it lives in your thoughts. And here's the truth: if your mind is poisoned with doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs, I don't care how hungry you are, you'll find a way to sabotage yourself. Your brain is the command center of your entire life. Every action you take, every decision you make, every risk you avoid, every risk you jump into, it all starts with what you believe. Most people have beliefs running through their minds that don't belong to them. They inherited them from parents, from teachers, from friends, from culture. Somewhere along the line, someone told them they weren't enough. They weren't smart enough. They weren't strong enough. They weren't capable enough. And they accepted that story as truth. And here's what happens. You can want success, you can be hungry for it, but if deep down you don't believe you're worthy of it or capable of it, you'll always find a way to back off. You'll stop short, you'll sabotage your own progress, not because you didn't want it, but because your mind wasn't conditioned to let you have it. That's why obsession requires flooding your mind with empowering beliefs. You've got to rewire the story that plays in your head every single day, because you're already obsessed with something. It might be worry, it might be doubt, it might be fear. You think about it over and over until it becomes your reality. But when you shift those thoughts and start conditioning yourself with beliefs that make you unstoppable, that's when obsession becomes your weapon. So let me ask you, do you believe about yourself right now? Do you believe you're capable of more than you've shown? Do you believe you're worthy of the life you dream about? Do you believe you have the power to overcome every obstacle? Are you running a story that says, that's not me, I'll never get there, I'm not like those people? Because whatever story you repeat is the story you live. Don't get this wrong. You don't need to wait until life magically proves it to you. You don't need the evidence first. That's how most people operate. They wait until something good happens and then they believe. No, you've got to believe first. You've got to condition your mind every single day until your brain starts looking for ways to prove your belief true. The human brain is wired to seek confirmation. If you believe you're unstoppable, your mind will find reasons to back it up. If you believe you're worthless, your mind will find reasons to back that up too. Which one are you feeding? That's why I tell people, you've got to flood your mind daily, not once a month, not when you feel like it, daily. Because the world is constantly throwing negativity at you. News, social media, gossip, fear, doubt. It never stops. If you're not actively reprogramming your mind, you're being programmed by the outside world. The outside world doesn't care about your obsession. So how do you do it? You use repetition. You use affirmations. You use visualization. You speak it, you see it, you feel it until your brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Science has proven this. The brain fires the same way, whether you're imagining success vividly or actually living it. And the more you repeat it, the more those neural pathways strengthen. That's how belief becomes identity. And once it becomes identity, obsession becomes second nature. But let me be real with you. It's not just about saying positive words to yourself. You can't just stand in front of a mirror and I'm successful if you don't mean it. You've got to say it with certainty. You've got to feel it in your bones. You've got to condition your physiology, your energy, your tone until your whole body believes it. Because when your body believes, your actions follow. And here's where the power kicks in. When you flood your mind with empowering beliefs, fear starts to shrink. The voice that used to paralyze you, that told you weren't ready, it doesn't go away, but it gets drowned out. It becomes background noise instead of the main voice. And now your hunger has space to breathe. Your clarity has space to expand. Obsession finally has a foundation to stand on. Think about it. Every person you've ever admired who became massively successful, they weren't born with more hours in a day than you. They weren't born with some magical gift you don't have. The difference is they conditioned their minds to believe in something bigger than their limitations. They turned their thoughts into fuel. And when you do the same, when you choose to feed your brain empowering beliefs instead of destructive ones, notice everything around you starts to shift. Because here's the secret: belief shapes perception. If you believe you're capable, you'll see opportunities everywhere. If you believe you're doomed to fail, you'll see dead ends everywhere. The opportunities were always there, you just weren't wired to see them. Belief is the lens. Change the lens, change your life. And once those beliefs are locked in, obsession becomes easy. You don't have to force yourself to keep going. You naturally do, because your mind won't allow you to see yourself as anything but successful. Every setback becomes feedback. Every failure becomes progress. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to prove your belief right. So ask yourself right now, what would happen if you flooded your mind every single day with the belief that you're unstoppable, that you're powerful, that success isn't just possible for you, it's inevitable? What kind of action would you take? What kind of risks would you embrace? What kind of energy would you show up with? That's the state obsession demands. Here's the truth. You already have the power to do it. You just have to decide that your old beliefs don't serve you anymore. You just have to decide that every thought you entertain will either build your obsession or destroy it. Once you make that decision, once you condition your mind daily, you'll start to notice something extraordinary. You won't just think success, you'll live it. So flood your mind with beliefs that empower you, because the moment you do, obsession stops being a choice and starts being who you are. Now, once your vision is clear, once that desire has become hunger, and once you've flooded your mind with beliefs that make you unstoppable, there's something else that either fuels or kills your obsession. And that's the environment you put yourself in. Because obsession is fragile at the beginning. It's like a flame. And just like any flame, if you expose it to the wrong wind, it goes out. If you put it in the wrong environment, it suffocates. But if you surround it with the right oxygen, with the right conditions, it explodes into a fire that can't be put out. You and I both know this energy is contagious. The people you spend the most time with are shaping you, whether you realize it or not. You pick up their standards, their habits, their beliefs, their energy. And here's the scary part. If you surround yourself with people who are comfortable, who settle, make excuses, who talk about dreams but never take action, sooner or later, you'll catch that disease. You'll lower your standards without even realizing it. You'll stop demanding more of yourself because the people around you aren't demanding more of themselves. If you want to be obsessed with success, you've got to be ruthless about who you let influence your world. You can love your family, you can care about your friends, but you cannot let their limitations become your limits. Too many people try to carry the weight of other people's beliefs on their back, and it drags them down. If the people around you don't fan your flame, they're dimming it, period. And don't misunderstand me, this isn't about cutting everyone out of your life or thinking you're better than anyone. It's about protecting your environment. If you want to stay obsessed, you've got to place yourself around people whose very presence forces you to level up. People whose standards make you uncomfortable in the best way. People who don't let you play small, who don't tolerate your excuses, who look at your dream and say, that's great, but what's next? That's the kind of energy that fuels obsession. Think about athletes. You can take the most talented player in the world, put them on a team where nobody cares, where nobody trains, where nobody's hungry. Watch what happens. Their standards drop. But take someone with average talent and put them in a locker room where everybody's obsessed with winning, where everybody's pushing past their limits. The standard is excellence. And watch how fast they rise. It's not just about what's inside you. It's about the environment you immerse yourself in. Here's the thing, sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who unintentionally poison your obsession. They'll say things like, don't work so hard. Why are you pushing yourself so much? Just relax. Be happy with what you have. They think they're protecting you, but what they're really doing is capping you. You can't listen to that voice if you want to be obsessed. You've got to be polite. You've got to love them. Inside, you've got to say, thank you, but no thank you. I know what I'm chasing and I know why. And it's not just people. It's everything in your environment. The content you consume, the places you spend your time, the conversations you entertain. Every one of those things is either pulling you closer to obsession or pushing you further away from it. If you're constantly scrolling through negativity, gossip, drama, you're feeding your mind poison. Poison kills obsession. But if you're immersing yourself in books, in conversations, in learning, in experiences that challenge you, that inspire you, that stretch your vision, you're feeding the fire. Tell you something I learned early. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your environment. You can have the clearest vision, the deepest hunger, the strongest beliefs. If you keep surrounding yourself with people who settle for less, eventually you'll start settling too. That's why some of you are frustrated right now. You've been trying to build obsession in an environment that suffocates it. You keep planting seeds in toxic soil and wondering why nothing grows. So what's the solution? You create your own environment. You seek out the rooms where you're the smallest player, not the biggest. You put yourself around people who make you feel behind because being behind pushes you forward. You join groups, you find mentors, you connect with others who are already living at the level you're aiming for. Because when you see what's possible in their lives, it forces you to ask, why not me? And that question is powerful, but it's not always easy. Sometimes creating the right environment means walking away from old circles. Sometimes it means spending less time with people who are fun but not focused. Sometimes it means being alone for a season, building your obsession in silence until you attract the right tribe. And that's hard because we all crave connection. Here's the truth. You can't sacrifice your future for temporary comfort. You can't sacrifice your obsession for people who aren't willing to grow with you. And let me tell you, when you finally find the right environment, you'll know. Because suddenly obsession doesn't feel like you're swimming upstream anymore. It feels like you're being carried by a current. You wake up with more energy because the people around you are moving in the same direction. You push harder because you see others pushing harder. You believe bigger because you see others living bigger. That's when obsession becomes effortless. So if you're serious about being obsessed with success, you've got to ask yourself right now, who's in my circle? Who am I giving my energy to? Who's influencing my thoughts, my actions, my standards? Because those answers will determine how far your obsession goes. Surround yourself with the right energy. You won't just chase success, you'll catch it. You'll catch it. There's a moment where clarity isn't enough, hunger isn't enough, empowering beliefs aren't enough, and even the right environment isn't enough. Because obsession is not just about what you think, it's about what you do. And this is where most people fall short. They get excited about their vision, they feel fired up in the moment, they even start talking like they're obsessed. When it comes down to action, they hesitate. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect plan, and while they wait, life passes them by. If you want to be obsessed with success, you've got to